Okay, so I'm going to do my top 10 worst films of 2012. I said that I was going to do this list in like later January, closer to the Oscars, but I only have two films left to see, so I'm pretty confident in both of them that they won't make this list. So I'm just going to jump right into it. By the way, I've seen 85 movies this year. And I actually have to say it's a very good year for film, but I also didn't see a lot of movies that were critically shit on. I seen mostly movies that I was anticipating, movies that I thought could potentially be good, and I didn't see a lot of movies like Silent Hill, you know, Resident Evil, movies that were just look like shit to begin with. So with that being said, here's my top 10 worst films of 2012. Number 10, The Dictator. The first scene of this movie had me in tears. If you've seen it, you probably know what it is. I thought it was just hilarious and comedic gold. I'm a big fan of Sacha Baron Cohen's. I thought that this movie had a lot of potential. I thought the trailers were funny, but that was about it. I thought the first maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes of this movie were actually really fucking funny. But what happens is then they have to develop a storyline, and when they develop the storyline for this film, it really falls apart. What happens is it just unravels, and once he gets his beard shaved, the movie just becomes pure shit. If you've seen the movie, you probably know what I'm talking about. It actually develops a storyline, and I didn't really laugh after that, and I thought the storyline was just god awful. So yeah. So number 9, The Guilt Trip. I actually just reviewed this movie a couple weeks ago, and I said it wasn't going to make my top 10 worst movies, but after looking and thinking this movie's that goddamn bad. There was there's nothing redeeming about this movie, to be honest. I've been thinking about it and I can't think of anything redeeming. It is that bad. If you want to see more of me ranting about that shit, watch my review. Okay, number 8, Project X. Project X was just pure shit in my opinion. I don't think teenagers partying and just getting fucked up and doing drugs and shitty music and everything is funny. There was honestly nothing funny about this movie. I don't care if people drink as long as the movie's funny. I think the American Pie movies and Hangover, all that, those movies are funny to me. But this one was just stupid. I didn't get into it at all. I thought everything about it was just terrible. I know a lot of people actually really enjoyed that movie, but I was not one of them. Okay, so these next 4 movies I'm going to say are actually all positive on Rotten Tomatoes. How? Truly beyond me. But number 7 is The Campaign. The Campaign I thought was a movie that had a lot of potential because think I don't think very highly of the Republican Party, and it's just a spoof on the Republican Party. So, I figured, hell, I'm gonna have a good time with this movie. But once there was a couple funny jokes throughout the movie, but honestly, I did not think it was very good at all. Once they had to develop a storyline for the movie, it really fell apart. There was a couple twists, and they were just god awful. I thought the whole movie was just terrible. I have no clue how it's positive. It's probably just because Hollywood in general is very liberal, and this is a movie making fun of conservative people. So that's most likely why it's positive. Number 6, Wanderlust. Another movie that was positive, and another movie that I had high hopes for. It's an Apatow produced movie. I really like Paul Rudd. This one just did not work for me. It wasn't funny. I was in the mood to laugh that day. I was cracking up all day long through the trailers. And then the movie started, and I did not think it was funny in the slightest. I didn't find anything, redeeming with this movie. I hated it. I thought at one time it was the worst film of the year, and then I seen the rest of these movies. Number 6, Brave. Brave is a movie that is actually nominated for Best Animated Feature, but I just thought it was so bad. The twist that the movie takes was just god awful, and if it wins Best Animated Feature Film, I think the Academy is just truly a joke, and they have some kind of contract with Pixar because this movie was terrible. Had it been made by DreamWorks or any other animation company, then it wouldn't have gotten all the praise that it did. It was simply because it's Pixar, and Pixar is such a good company. Um, Number 5 is Premium. I think I messed up somewhere in here. I did all the movies, but I think the numbers are messed up. So this is number 4. Um, Number 4, Premium Rush. Premium Rush is a movie that, again, is positive on Rotten Tomatoes. How is just beyond me. I think this movie is truly admissible. I think it is one of the worst films I've ever seen in my entire life. It deserves Razzie nominations throughout the whole fucking movie. And I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I think Michael Shannon's a great actor. But these performances and this whole movie is just pure shit. Honest to God, you could give me $100 and I wouldn't want to rewatch this movie again. It was that bad. There's a scene where Michael Shannon is chasing Joseph Gordon-Levitt in his car, and he's just like hysterically laughing, and it's just, I was fucking shocked by how bad this scene was, and how bad Michael Shannon was in this movie. I wanted to know what went through the director's mind when he goes, ooh, that is fucking cinematic gold. I even want to know. Please comment below and tell me if you like that movie. Tell me why you like it. I gotta know. I have no clue how that movie's not 6% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's fucking terrible. Yeah, so number 3, Wrath of the Titans. A movie that I didn't want to see to begin with. I was forced to see it because I told my cousin I'd go with them, and it was truly, truly terrible. I don't think there's anything redeeming about that film. I had to see it in IMAX 3D, and even the special effects, in my opinion, weren't that good. The whole movie was just terrible. That's about it. The acting, everything, terrible. Number 2. This is a movie that I would say would easily be number 1 every single year in the history of fucking films if it weren't for the number 1 movie. But Dark Shadows, another movie I think actually has kind of, people like this movie, and I don't know why. I thought it was truly terrible, along with all the other ones, but I think this one, it was in its own ballpark of bad. It was one of the most unfunny movies. It just proves why Tim Burton's becoming a laughing stock, in my opinion. This guy is just a pure shit director. There's a scene with Eva Green where she's just laughing, and it's just like, oh my God, what makes him go, that's good? Between her and Michael Shannon, there's just 2 of the worst performances I've seen this year. It's just fucking terrible. Chloe Moretz, I really like her. She's terrible in this movie. There's a line where she's like, I'm a werewolf, or something like that. It was just like, oh my fucking God, why am I still sitting here? Why didn't I just fucking leave? It was so bad. It was, I hate that fucking movie. I could go on. I should just make a 10-minute rant of why I hate these next 2 movies, but I'm not. Number 1, Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance. I think that's what it's called. Spirit of Vengeance. Fucking god awful. The worst movie I think I've ever seen in my entire life. I watched a review for it, and they go, oh yeah, man, this movie's pretty bad, but it's funny. So I was like, alright, fuck it, I'll see it. I was expecting to laugh. I didn't laugh once. I actually wish I asked for my fucking money back after this movie. It was that bad. Just a truly, truly terrible film. One of the worst the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life. It's that bad. Neville Dean and Taylor, you guys made the Crank series, which is terrible. Just stop making films, please. Stop doing, in 100 years, I don't want someone to go, what is, in a million years, I don't want someone to go, what is movies? And then find your fucking trash because you guys are terrible directors. You, go to film school or something. I don't know what the fuck you guys think you make is art. It's not. It's garbage. If you guys are a fan of Neville Dean and Taylor, I'm sorry, because these guys are terrible, terrible directors. They don't deserve to have their names on a feature film. They're that bad. And Ghost Rider is their worst film to date. I actually only think it's Taylor or Neville Dean, one of those 2. I think it's only directed by one of the 2. But regardless, they're the same fucking person. They're the same entity. And it's just a terrible film. Ghost Rider, round of applause, because if you were made to become the worst film of the year, you succeeded. It was that bad. Don't see any of these movies. Leave a comment if you enjoyed them. There's a couple movies that I'm sure, aren't on a lot of lists because they are positive. But if you enjoyed any of these movies, leave a comment telling me why. If you hated some of these movies, leave a comment telling me why. Just leave a comment, give me a sub, and have a great day.